Hey, it's me, Tim, and recently I put out a video about my rethinking of the acoustic guitar as I try to make it sort of different and more versatile for live musicians. So in part one, I got the boxes basically together and I got the necks cut out, but in part two, we're going to actually complete putting the boxes together, get the necks on them, and actually hear them at the end of this video, but there will still be more to come and more to hear. But without further ado, let's just get into that and see where we are today. So we sort of left off teasing my string retention idea, and here's an early prototype. I had this cut from Sen, as you can see. It wasn't the right size, and I had to fit it to fit. But so typically acoustic guitars have those little pegs that you push down through the top to hold the strings in, and I don't like that because A, they're a pain in the neck, and B, you can lose those little pegs real easily, and C, it's pulling the bridge off the body, where I thought if the strings are pulling through from inside, it would be pulling, pushing down on the bridge to the body instead. So it seemed like a better fit for me. Of course, you need access, which is why I had to create this latch to the back. So now if you break a string in your acoustic guitar, instead of having to pull one of those little pins out on the fly, you can just pull this magnetic latched cover off the back and run a new string through. Plus, that metal plate is a little bit stronger, and it provides a ground for my electromagnetic pickup system that will be installed on this guitar in the future. So I still got a few things to work out with that plate, but the first prototype works pretty good, I think. And so now that I've got all that in and lined up, now I can go ahead and close the back. And so now you can see maybe why in last week's video why I was starting to lay out the neck and stuff before closing the back, so I could set all that up perfectly. So when I cut these panels on my laser, I do cut them just a little bit bigger, so there's a little bit of hangover, and then I flush trim them to fit because the world's imperfect, and I'm certainly a part of this imperfect world. So it just makes it easier for me. While the glue is drying on that, I can hop back onto the work that I still need to do on the necks. And of course, they get cut out on my CNC router. And of course, you'll notice this one here does not have a truss rod slot because it is for the nylon string I'm working on. But I have to put these side mount tuner holes in, which I can't really do on the CNC. So I use a step drill bit to drill the original holes because the outside hole needs to be a little bit bigger than the one inside the headstock that holds it in. So now I kind of almost gets them both perfect. I just have to clean them up with the right size drill bits, and it works pretty easily. The other thing I need to do is put my logo on the headstock, which I just like to do with a laser engraver. And so here you can see I'm using my center square to just quickly find the center of that odd shaped space at the top of the headstock, and that's where I can set my laser to burn my logo in there and have it be somewhat centered, because to just eyeball that's pretty tricky. I can't remember the radius that I CNC carved into these fingerboards. It's either 16 inch or a 20 inch, but I still have to, of course, sand it a little bit, and you can see there after sanding it how pretty it looks. And this is something I do a lot. I do these front position markers that bleed over onto the side, and they're just small and subtle, but you can see them from both the top and side, and it saves me a little bit of work, and I think it looks cool. And so with that done, I go ahead and put the frets in, and I like to put the frets into the fingerboard before it's in the neck and then glue it on and then do all the setup. And I know that's not the way most people do it, but it works for me. Once the fingerboard is glued on, I can finish mating the two of them together by smoothing over the edge and making it all feel like one piece, which is how it should feel. And this is by design. I leave just a little bit extra wood there on the lip. It makes it easier for me to get this all together and then clean it all up in the end. And of course, this neck has this bolt-on design, and the bolt-on design is somewhat adjustable. And so I put threaded inserts into the neck. And normally I would put them before I glued the fingerboard on, but I just forgot. Because if I put them before I glued the fingerboard on, I could run them through the top, and there'd be less opportunity for them to pull out, but of course they're fine. I just forgot to on this one. And of course I have the fretwork to do. And here you can see I'm using my square rocker, which is also available over at squaretools.com, to check out if there's any high spots. And it tends to be like on the very edge of the fret. Maybe doesn't get pushed in as well with the call system that I'm using, or the pressure system I'm using. So I always end up having to just clean those edges up a little bit. But once that's all done, I level and crown all the frets and all that typical stuff. Trying to remove all the tape together in one piece is always a fun challenge. It kind of looks like a snake skin. The dime goes where the little metal angle adjustment for the neck will push up against. It's cheaper than cutting a piece of metal. As longtime viewers know, I almost never do sponsored content here. It's been years since I've done something like that. But I do like to remind you that I do this stuff for a living, and I do that by putting my own sponsored content in for myself. So I make these videos, the ads outside of them I can't control, the ones in I can. And lately I've just been advertising for me. This is the best way you can support me, is because I don't make videos for a living, I make things for a living. Things like the tools that I use in a lot of these videos that I sell over at squaretools.com. And that's pretty much the only place you can get any of those. And I have a lot of new exciting things that I'm in development for that I hope to get out this year, and one of the best ways to make it possible for me to develop and make these things is to check out what's already there at squaretools.com. And of course, a lot of the guitars that I make in these videos, some are for commissioned customers and some I just make to experiment with, and some of those end up for sale over at newperspectivesmusic.com. For example, as I wrap up this video, I'm wrapping up another nylon string guitar, and for the past year or so, the blue nylon string guitar I showed in the first video has been my living room guitar. I love that guitar, it's a ton of fun. But now I have this one that I need to mess around with and play for a while. So the blue one's gotta go. And I put it up for sale at newperspectivesmusic.com for dirt cheap. This is probably the only one like that I'll ever make. It's definitely the first one I've ever made. It's been in my home. My son and I have been playing it for a year now, maybe longer. And it could be yours for peanuts. And what a great way that is to support my channel and to be a part of it too. So, okay, back to the show. Now that the glue is dry and my necks are ready to go, I can get back to the acoustic guitar box, and like I said, I trim up the edges, and I always don't even worry about trying to make these two pieces seam perfectly in the middle as I lay it out, because I end up having to go in and cut and put a little splice there anyways, which looks cool too, but in this case I'm painting it, so it doesn't matter. Normally I would do some pretty kind of wood. And now I had to start dealing with all the problems that I mentioned in part one of the edges, where there's the splitting and cracking and imperfections and stuff. And so, like I said, my plan was to paint the back and sides and leave the top natural. And so I'm just going around some 5-minute epoxy basically and filling in any weird spots. And then I also, of course, want to put my arm cutaway, and I have an extra block of wood that's glued in there that I just use some Arbortech tools and some rasps and sandpaper to just take a little bit off that edge to make it a little more comfortable on your arm on a 3-hour gig. Of course, like I've talked about many times now, the unforgiving plywood that is bent around the sides needed a little bit of filling in there, but overall I'm pretty pleased with the way it looks. And I mentioned I'm making 2 guitars here, right? So far, everything you've seen has been the steel string guitars. I put the body together, but now I also made this nylon string version, which you can see is a very quick montage of me putting together. And notice that the bracing is a little bit different on the nylon string. Just trying to follow that tradition a little bit. But I still use that metal plate on the inside, even though I don't need to ground to it, just because I'm experimenting with the concept. And I wanted to see how it would work. I taped up the tops and I began to primer the backs and sides, the parts I want to paint, and I used 2 different color primer paints. One's a filler and one's just regular, and they both dry pretty quick, and I can go in and sand and get a few coats on and fill little sort of voids this way somewhat. It works okay. And now it was time to paint, and so I'm using my Total Boat elixirs that I mixed together to make this color we call soy sauce green. I did a video about years ago with Total Boat. It's like our signature color. And the elixir paint is a cool, very durable paint, but it goes on thin, as you can see, and it takes many, many coats before it really starts to take. But then on that 4th coat, you really see it, and it starts working well. So then with that all done, I was able to, then again, don't forget my bridge is already laid out. I just have to glue it on. I have those little metal pins in there to help me align it, so it's pretty easy. And we're just about ready to put this guitar together. This is another fix I need to make on those metal plates inside. It was very, very difficult to drill through that really hardened stainless steel to make a hole for the simple little piezo pickup wire that needs to go through there. The guitar comes with 2 Allen keys, one for the neck bolts and one for the neck adjustment, and it's really pretty easy to do. And here you can see the string through design in action. We just simply push it up through the hole, and go. So because I have a bolt-on neck that I want to be able to adjust the angle on, and because I want to put magnetic pickups on this guitar, I do have the strings up just a little bit higher off the body than most acoustic guitars would be. And you can see on this particular setup right now, you see how high the actual bridge is outside of the, the rest of the bridge, like housing. I don't like that. So I think what I need to do, I might even pull this bridge off, because I have the other guitar still, the nylon string, that, where it's not quite as crucial, I guess, but I'm going to stack. I'm going to glue these together and stack them and make a taller bridge. So this isn't like hanging out so much and going forward, and I think I'll probably have to do the same here. In the future, I'll probably have to cut the bridges on the CNC router because I'll end up making them a little bit thicker. But for now, I just glued 2 laser cut pieces together and went ahead and glued a new one on the top of the guitar that I already had sort of started, and that worked fine. But it'll look better and be cooler to be one piece. I have a couple little scraps of thin skateboard laminations put together from when I did some collaborations with Woby Design, and so that's what I use for this top piece. Now I still needed to rough in my electronics. Right here I was on the nylon string. You can see I'm using just a razor blade in the original Square, squaretools.com, to figure out where that hole is going to be. But of course now is time for the next set of problems I wasn't ready for. There's always something with prototyping. The first time I used this electronics component, I put it too far down, and the curve of it didn't line up right. So this time I went and I found a spot where it fit really well in the curve, and it does, but I put this piece of wood in this model here, and there's just a little bit of wood, so it doesn't quite close. So now I'm hacking away at it, and I'm breaking this area, so I'm going to have to put some kind of plate there or whatever. I'll save you a lot of cursing and ugliness. Here's the end result, a little piece of plastic. Well, it's not ideal, but, for a prototype. I already wasn't too happy with a lot of things about this body anyways, so. I'm using the same string through design on this with a metal plate, even though the metal plate isn't necessary for this one. Typically nylon strings don't have a ball end on them. I buy the ones that have the ball end, and you just put them in. But if you do want to use nylon strings that don't have a ball end, you could just tie your own knot. You might take a couple ties. You could even put a little plastic bead or something on there, and then you could just make that knot sit in there. So it still works the same way, or with the same strings. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just running the strings on the outer extremities, the low and high E. And I'm not tightening them or anything, I'm just putting them in the instrument so I can start gauging my nut and my bridge. I used this precise fret file to pick a height that looked good above the bridge and just combine the measurements to decide how tall that actual bridge piece needs to be. Cut a nut, and I used some ebony for both of these, reclaimed from a local harpsichord shop. And we're just about ready to hear this thing. Well, both of them actually. Nylon acoustic, take 1. So that's what they sound like acoustic, but if you've been following along, you know that how they sound just like this unplugged and acoustic is not really the end goal. These, of course, have to function as acoustic instruments and feel and do all the things acoustic instruments do, but they're really being designed to be things that you plug in and play loud and live and whatnot. So the nylon string is pretty much ready to go. I've got the electronics in and working, and you're going to get to hear them in the next video. Pretty happy with the way it plays and feels and sounds, although I do have like this, the G string sounds a little choked to me, so I gotta finesse the setup on this a little bit. Now let's talk about the steel string, because that's where the electronics get real exciting. So I have in here just a basic Fishman setup, which I'm not sure I'm sold on this brand either. I had to build this little riser for it to sit on the body, and I had problems with the other one. So I'm still working on that, and I think if I make these a little bit thicker, that's going to solve a lot of the problems I have mounting these electronics. But really what's exciting about the steel string is the electromagnetic system I do. That's been a big part of this whole design, is having these two systems, and I have some ideas for this one. So now the body on this one, I hate everything about it. I hate what I did to the top, and that's okay, because it makes it the perfect body to start cutting up to try my pickup ideas, and then I will, once I've got that sort of figured out, make another body for this. The neck I'm really pleased with. I do have a little bit of setup issues to deal with, but that's more down here actually. And yeah, like I said, perfect for cutting up, and I'm going to do that, and you're going to get to see it here and hear it all plugged in when that happens, and you're going to have to wait because it's not ready yet. But it will be coming, probably not my next video, but sometime in the next few weeks. So look out for that. Smash the whatever, I don't care about that stuff, but you know where I am. I'm here. Keep your eyes out, and thanks for watching. Be good.